Hi. Good morning. So, today I figure I just start with a little bit of piano sounds and whatnot. I woke up around like 6 a.m. or something like that, and I realized that I should be filming this video because I have to. I must. I'm so. What's the word? I'm yearning to put content out where there's feedback and I can see how people feel about it so I can learn from that and grow. But I've always been kind of in a scenario where I don't feel like I have much of a feedback receiving scenario. I don't know how to explain it. I've worked on a lot of things that nobody's really ever seen, which is okay. Now I get to work on something that a lot of people get to see, and that's fun. We were supposed to have a video out on Monday, but then something happened. I'm not really sure, but which is totally fine. But now we're supposed to have it out today, but I don't know if we're gonna have it out today, which is okay. I can't wait to be doing stuff more consistently because I'm just really I'm not bored necessarily because I know how to occupy my time, but I'm just anxious to do more. I really want to grow something. I want to make something evolve. I want to put effort into something and see it received back, if that makes sense. It would be cool. It is cool. I do get that, and I'm very thankful. I just feel like there's a lot more I should be doing, but I'm not consistent enough with myself, I think. But I'm trying. I'm just trying to get everything in order first. It's impossible for me to not think about what I was thinking about before now, so I guess I'll just talk about it and get it out of the way so that I could come to some other topic. But damn, Twitter has turned into a rat hole. It's really crazy because some of the stuff I see is just so common there now. And it's strange because it's from all sides. It's just very racist, transphobic, violent, radical woke. All extremes, leftist extreme, rightist, extreme right. It's very, the temperature is turned up to like 1,000%, to the point where like there's politicians saying pretty outrageous things for being such public facing figures. And on top of that, something I've noticed is that a lot of these accounts will say very extreme things, and I'm curious. I wonder if the same account on Instagram, if people were to see the stuff that those people, the people that they follow, post on Twitter, I wonder if they would view them differently. Like, I wonder if these people have a different facing persona on different platforms, even though it's very easy for people that follow them to see the other platform. I think that they're betting on the fact that not a lot of people will go to the other site because they don't care. I mean, I rarely will go from somebody's Twitter to their Instagram, even though the link is there, but it's like I'm here to see what they're saying, not look at their pictures or whatever. So I feel like there might be a time where the two converge, and then people that are on Instagram, which is more like, I would say normies. I actually don't even know, actually. I feel like maybe it's age demographics. But I feel like the things that you see on Twitter are would traumatize some of the people that I see on Instagram. And like the things that you post on Instagram, you might post something on Instagram. I think I was talking about the other day. There's this Indian artist who posts things on Instagram. He has these songs that he makes that are really, really good. It's like this kind of hip hop pop music infused with like, I guess, Indian sounds, because I'm not really familiar with that style of music. But regardless, it's these really cool visuals and everything like that, and it's filmed there. But all of the comments on Instagram are super supportive, and they're like, wow, this is really creative, really embracing all of these things and kind of making like a satire and comments on the stereotypes, whatever. It's great. On Twitter, I was seriously thinking, like, if this person had put this on Twitter, the things that they would say about this person would be horrible. I'm not gonna say the things just because it's not worth it for me. And like, look, I know that some jokes are just jokes, obviously. I'm not saying it because I will ruin the joke. And also, I just don't think that it's helpful, especially when it's gotten to the point where people just don't view certain groups as people. That's where I think it's like, yo, I think we need to take a step back, because clearly, like, a large percentage of these people making these jokes actually mean it, and they don't think of these people as humans. And that's a problem, I think. I find it strange that everything's becoming so normalized. Somebody should study there's this creator named Homath. He used to make these videos doing math about statistics of basically why you're not getting a girlfriend. and why every girl that you're dating is like hooking up with all these different people. It's like all of this statistical stuff that will drive you crazy if you start to even think about it. I think that a solution to this, regardless of if any of it has any sort of merit, I don't know. Most of it doesn't, I'll be honest. But even if any of it did, I think what helps is just not really thinking of dating as some sort of game or some sort of science or formula. Humans are too unpredictable for that. We have too much personal. We have too much free will, I would say. And not even just that. I feel like there's so much environmental factors that go into how somebody experiences those parts of their lives when they're growing up and they're experimenting and all this stuff. Whatever. This person makes all of these statistics and stuff, and over the years, it's gotten more and more real. Like they've started to believe their own kind of satire. It's from what I remember them saying in their podcast. But it's gotten to a crazy point now to where it's just straight up incel, schizophrenic, misogynistic shit. It's wild. And they genuinely believe it. It's turned into like not even that. It's turned into just Nazi stuff. This person basically is just talking about like saving the white race and white replacement theory and things like that. It's really funny. It's really funny when these people say that, when it's like, do you see the people that are in power everywhere? Because it just feels like it's white people, which is fine. I really don't even care. I could give a shit. I don't think that any of this stuff is the problem. I think this is all like social constructs, but yeah. It's just really funny. Oh, what I was gonna say is that it's ironic because they are in power, and then they'll always say things like, white men become trans because they get like a party thrown for them and all this stuff. When I started to like come out as whatever I am, and I wouldn't consider myself a part of the group or anything like that, but even just saying, hey, I just don't agree with any of this stuff. Like, I don't agree with gender norms as like, I believe it's a human construct. I don't believe in language or anything like that. I believe that we just make all of this stuff up and it's used to identify things that are very real, but there's very much nuances and subtleties to these things. And where was I going with that? Oh my goodness. Oh, so his idea is that you get a party and all this stuff. You don't. No, you don't. You don't. Dating becomes harder because a lot of people have unspoken thoughts they feel about you. A lot of issues with how your family perceives you, even if you're in a great, loving family. It's just a thing. And no parties. And honestly, I just see so much hate constantly. I don't really see any sort of like, I mean, obviously from certain like small groups, but the majority of people, there's a reason why there's so much activism around it. And I know that feels to some people like it's being shoved in their face, but just take a step back. Just take a second. It's just so ironic when one group gets criticized for something for like a few years, and now all of a sudden they can't recognize and put themselves in the other person's shoes and say, oh wait, this is what people were experiencing from people that look like me for so long. So maybe there's a reason why certain groups are having certain identity crises and things like that. Maybe now it's time for us to have an identity crisis. Does that make sense? Like, it to be honest, it's really giving into the stereotype of this idea that men will avoid accountability. And I know that that's supposed to be a stereotype for the other gender, but that, to me, I think that guys are just better at hiding it or something. I don't know. Who knows? It's all constructs anyways, but I can agree that there's generalities or whatever you want to call it, generalizations within our environment because we've created these things happen to us because of the environments that we're in. We create these norms and things like that. I'm so tired and high that it's hard for me to explain this stuff right now or articulate myself well, but yeah, it's all, to me, it's all a construct. I don't care about pronouns or anything like that. I don't care. I just know personally what I feel. But that's just me. And everybody deserves to have that. And I think that if you're a decent human, you just respect the people that you're around. Yeah. That's how I feel. I don't think it's a very big deal. I think it's something that's totally overblown. And it makes me frustrated that it seems like there's progress and people just accepting things, and then extreme things happen, like the shooting, and then it ruins it for anybody that's relatively associated with, I guess, being perceived that way as somebody who's like gender fluid or whatever you want to call it. Because I'm just a person. It's not that deep. And there's not very many of us, to be honest. And to be honest as well, maybe there is. We don't have enough information yet. That's the thing that people don't realize. We're not going into everybody's genomes and studying and seeing the differences in all of these things. The one thing that I do know is that there's 78 different versions of intersex that people don't talk about. There's more intersex people on this planet than there are gingers. Think about that. Think about that. Kleinfelter's is intersex. Think about that. Okay? You probably know a lot of people that are. But what we do is that we find one that we identify with and we lean into that and then we go with it. Did you know that when kids are born, sometimes they just give them a gender when they're intersex? They just choose one when they're literally technically both. So it's just a lot more complicated than people realize, I think. That's just my opinion. Actually, it's not just my opinion. It's just, that's science. How you want to compartmentalize it is our opinions. Like how we want to decide what we do with that information is what we do. But genetically, all of this stuff is way more complicated than people want to give it credit for. That's why people look very different. There's very many different shapes and sizes. You know, that's why somebody like Ben Shapiro, his frame is what you would think of when you think of like the average like woman, you know, 5'1", I think he is, and probably like 110 pounds. Yeah, but he's a man, right? So, a very masculine man. But yeah, it's just, I think people are just too controlled by all of this stuff. And it's really driving me crazy, as you can tell. It's making me mad because I just want to work. I just want to work and make things and meet people that are interested in the same things that I'm interested in. But it's hard. It's hard. I feel like even the groups that I'm in at times, or that I was in, I'm not really in any groups anymore, are all kind of dealing with this thing where they have to align with something in culture in order to feel a sense of stability mentally. So it's like, I have all of these things checked up. I think this way. I agree with this person and these people. Okay, I'm a good person. Now I can just go out and drink and have fun. And that's valid, I think. But I feel like we're getting to a point where things are getting so hot that when you are posed with actually explaining what you believe, it actually does matter for us to have these conversations to figure out where we're going to go next. And when you try to have these conversations, it's either people don't know what they're talking about, or they know what they're talking about, but in a very much accumulation of information kind of way. They've just accumulated a lot of information and haven't really pulled it apart or processed it at all. So they're just spitting facts to you. And a lot of times the facts are watered down bullet points of information that's been probably most likely already debunked or something like that. But when they say it in these kind of like pointed ways, it feels very actionable and it feels very intense and executed well and articulated and charismatic and punchy. But a lot of it is just not real. A lot of the statistics that they use to try and confuse people, like IQ statistics and things like that, are so misused that it's making me get to a point where I just won't use statistics anymore, because it shouldn't be about statistics. We're not a computer. You know, we're people. And I think that we deserve more attention than that. I think that we deserve more. But I don't know. I think that's the problem with having such a large population and having systems try and kind of manage this mass amounts of people. I think that on a human level, we all just need to take care of each other on an individual level more. Because, you know, there's people that are like struggling or like in really dark places. And sometimes it's very hard for them to say these things because they're scared of being kind of excommunicated from a group, from kind of harshing the vibes, you know. Um, I'm always in my life, always. There's moments that are really great and fantastic, and overall, I have a fantastic life. Let's be real. I'm very fortunate, and very thankful. But I will be honest. Like, there's a lot of times in my life where I'm just around a lot of people and we all have the same goal, except the tools and resources that these people have are significantly different than what I'm working with. And I'm trying to just keep up and I'm trying to kind of save face. And it feels like very much this imposter syndrome kind of vibe. And it's getting to a point recently where it's like my head's going to explode because I feel like I just want to be utilized so much more. But I know at the same time, there's a lot more proof of concept that I have to show in order to be trusted in a way to be able to like blossom in the way that I believe I could if I was watered correctly with the right nutrients and minerals and H2O. But who knows what'll happen. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying to put content out because for me, that's the only medicine for all of this chaos that we're dealing with. And I guess it's a part of my reconstruction of figuring out who I really am on the inside and not just on the outside with all these stupid clothes and these stupid lights and vapes and, you know, all of this fake stuff. Because that's all it is. Nothing's real. The only thing that's real is you and the decisions that you make and how you treat other people and especially how you treat yourself. Because I know it sounds cliche, but genuinely I've learned this anecdotally from my own experiences that the more you take care of yourself, the more you're able to take care of other people. If you are sick, you can't take care of customers, right? Right? You're gonna be sneezing all over their food. Okay? You gotta go home and you gotta get some rest. And by home I mean into your mind, okay? And get some mental rest. And have some fun in there. Yeah. All right.